Absolutely shocking. The New Orleans Saints traveled to Seattle only to suffer one of the harshest defeats imaginable, an across-the-board collapse that left fans stunned. It's hard to overstate just how badly things went. The Saints were outplayed on offense, overwhelmed on defense, and outmatched in every aspect of special teams. As surprising as it sounds, the final score, 44-13, almost flatters the Saints. The Seahawks were so dominant that they rested their starting quarterback in the early fourth quarter. But here's the part most people miss. This game wasn't just a loss. It exposed deeper, systemic issues that could linger all season long. Scroll below for the complete stock watch, where it's clear the negatives far outweigh the positives after this nightmare in Seattle. Stock down. Special teams. If you follow this, but today, special teams couldn't have been louder in their failure. For a third straight game, kicker Blake Group missed a field goal. True, this one was from 52 yards, a tough ask, but in the NFL, consistency matters, and Group has struggled to deliver. The punt coverage was perhaps the most brutal moment. Kai Kroger sent a booming 61-yard punt, but the Saints' coverage failed spectacularly, letting Torrey Horton blast through for a 95-yard touchdown return. How often do you see a franchise priding itself on sound special teams get exposed so ruthlessly? The problems didn't stop there. Immediately after, the Saints allowed an unblocked rusher to pressure their left-footed punter. Basic execution simply broke down. And as if things couldn't worsen, Derek Young ripped off a 60-yard kickoff return, regularly giving Seattle spectacular field position. In fact, the Seahawks started 3 drives from the Saints' own 35-yard line, largely thanks to these special teams errors. Consider this controversial take. If special teams had performed at even a middling level, could the outcome have been different? Even the Saints' own kickoff return game lacked any spark. Kendre Miller, routinely the target, couldn't find daylight as Seattle seemed to have a plan for him. Would returning specialist Rashid Shaheed to the mix make a difference? The team's decision to move on from special teams captain J.T. Gray ahead of Week 1 looks especially questionable now. Coaches, including coordinator Phil Galliano, face increasing heat if these failures persist. Defense covers nobody. Seattle's quarterback, Sam Darnold, left the game early with a comfortable lead, and it's not difficult to see why. In just 18 passes, he racked up 218 yards and 2 touchdowns. Dissecting the Saints' defense with ease, Darnold encountered almost no pressure. And when the Saints did manage a pass rush, receivers still found acres of space. At times, it seemed almost surreal. Zone coverages left wide-open passing lanes, and even when 3 Saints tracked Jackson Smith-Njigba deep, none played the ball. One critical play summed up the mess. Seattle's best receiver isolated against a Saints rookie safety, converting effortlessly. The recurring narrative that every opposing quarterback looks like a superstar against this defense needs to be addressed. Is the defensive scheme simply demanding too much from linebackers, or is it a fundamental lack of personnel fit? Whatever the answer, there is far too much room for offenses to operate when the Saints drop into these zones, while their own offense deals with tightly contested coverage. Do you agree this is a coaching issue, or is it a matter of roster construction? Mistakes, mistakes, mistakes. Penalties were rampant. 11 accepted infractions in this game. And shockingly, it's not even their worst this season. From unnecessary roughness to repeated false starts and questionable holding calls, both accepted and declined, the discipline simply wasn't there. Context matters. Several penalties were committed by rookies and backup linemen thrust into starting roles. But even accounting for Seattle's notorious home field noise, this many mental errors can't be excused. The Saints even brought referees to practice recently to curb these issues, but the results speak for themselves. Perhaps most frustrating, this wasn't a one-off. After similarly sloppy play against the 49ers, fans have to wonder if this undisciplined trend will define the season. Defensive star Cam Jordan summed it up frankly. It's self-inflicted wounds, man. We're not a good enough team to overcome that right now, and it clearly shows every game. The uncomfortable truth? Until the Saints stop making life more difficult for themselves, they won't be beating anyone. So, should the coaching staff shake up their disciplinary approach, or do you see hope for improvement? A few more frustrations. This game was so lopsided, it was hard to single out individual disappointments without reviewing every play. Still, some coaching decisions stood out. Kellen Moore's ultra-conservative play calling, for one. Taking a field goal from the 5-yard line while trailing by 32 points? Fans had to wonder what message that sends to the locker room. And where are the deep shots to Rashid Shaheed, one of the fastest receivers in the league? With so much speed at his disposal, Moore's reluctance to open up the playbook feels like a mistake. Is prioritizing quarterback safety coming at the cost of competitiveness? Receiver frustration is mounting as well. Chris Olave and Shaheed are doing their jobs, but growing weary of limited opportunities. On defense, Alontae Taylor flashes talent, but misses too many tackles to be consistently impactful. Maybe a role change would unlock more from him. Stock up negativity. Here's a twist. After Sunday's disaster, those who doubted the Saints, calling them the NFL's worst, predicting weekly blowouts, are surely celebrating. The team provided plenty of vindication for the naysayers. It's bulletin board material. Except, this time, the criticism almost feels justified. Are things really that dire? Despite some bright spots in earlier weeks, raw talent alone won't save a team plagued by mistakes and inconsistency. The Saints played hard, but effort alone isn't enough. Preparation and belief in the process seem lacking. Is this a coaching crisis or a roster in need of a total rebuild? Join the debate below. Jack Stoll. Credit where it's due. Jack Stoll scored his first NFL touchdown, making a clever grab in the end zone when most expected the play to be dead. While he's not a transformative player, having another threat in the passing game is a step forward. Fans shouldn't expect fireworks, but every little help matters during tough stretches. Health? In a game this messy, avoiding serious injuries counts as a silver lining. Justin Reed and Kool-Aid McKinstry survived scare evaluations for concussions and returned. And at least there was no significant new blow to the roster. A minor victory if there ever was one. Still, given the Saints,